Doing just fine, sweetie. All your hard work pays off. That's the cat.
She's fine, she's mine. Walking down the street, so man, beware. Man, she looks so neat, that face so rare. Then we'll stop and stare. One look, you're hooked. Got your money took, you got it, go, go, girl. You got it, go, go, girl. So fast, so hip. You, Jody. All of us are connected to our pasts.
Right.
And I always thought the greatest fiction visited on children who are famous and working, not in regular school, but being used up by the entertainment business, is this desire of people to say, you have to be normal. Take out the trash like everybody else. Wait a second. You're not normal. It is not normal for a kid.
That's right. That's what people don't understand.
And that's only the community of performers, as I mentioned to you earlier, the people who are actually on the bus understand this.
That.
And
it's a different breed.
It truly is.
It is.
And that's why performers really do care for each other. You watch them when someone has lost that audition that they really needed, or when they have an injury and have to perform that night. Performers really are a band of gypsies by and large.
Yes. So you did that for 8 years.
8 years, that's right. My last day of regular public education was in the beginning of 7B, we used to call it, at San Fernando Valley Junior High. And for the next 8 years, I had a tutor, just mine, Dr. Lillian Barkley, and lived in this little cocoon. Now, fortunately, Donna Reed and Carl Betts had witnessed the emotional carnage of Father Knows Best, where the children's development in character and education had been a distinct second place to performance skills. And they vowed, as adult actors, not to let that happen.
Oh, really?
So they were so nurturing to Shelley Fabre and to me, and then later my little sister, that it made a difference. The biggest difference was when the show was over. All shows come to an end.
Yeah.
We still met every month because
you did?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like
because
a family,
and it was genuine. And we had to do this many times, understanding that there would be ruffled feathers. Donna had 4 children at home. And yet Shelley and I were perceived by the country to be her kids.
Her kids too.
So that was always a very difficult, treacherous ground, so to speak. And interestingly, with the Donna Reed Foundation about to have its 22nd gathering in her hometown, it's Donna's children that are very close to both Shelley and me, because we had a lot to overcome in order to establish, an adult relationship.
Sure. And today what you're doing is you're still in the performing arts, but
in a way.
To protect the children in the entertainment field, correct?
Well, yes. There are very few positive uses for old notoriety. Easy to get tabloid headlines, hard to make being as well known in your past, make it productive. In my instance, there came a time in my life, about 30 years ago, I wrote a book called Walt, Mickey, and Me. It was my 10th book. And in quiet times, I still consider myself a writer. I've written 16 books. I really care about that. Every word on the page is mine. But in Walt, Mickey, and Me, I took a look back at the Musketeers from 1955 through 1957. And at the time, they were the best and the brightest. They really were. And they were paid for that. And they grew to be quite famous, so famous that they became a fad. And like all fads, it came to an end. And I actually sat down with these people who had remained my friends and saw many things that began to disturb me. This is now 1977. And when I commented on this in the gentlest way possible, because I was not in the business of wrecking families and people's lives or telling secrets that needn't be told, it triggered something in me. Like, wait a second, there is something amiss in the way Hollywood treats its children. Because with only 2 or 3 exceptions, virtually all of the Mouseketeers didn't have a career. I mean,
That's true.
it was over.
Yeah.
And when I began to look backward into the history of kid actors, I saw that most of them are abandoned. Just like being out in the desert and waking up one morning and your family has wandered off.
Yeah.
Because the town doesn't care.
No, they don't care, do
honestly,
they?
they don't care about adults. They don't care about kids. Well, I begin to say, you know something, that's not fair. When we know that there will be consequences, this is kind of like working with asbestos or in a coal mine. We know for a fact there will be consequences 20 years down the road. And the entertainment industry, which is really, you know, pretty wealthy, knows there's consequences as well. So how come Hollywood does such a bad job of dealing with the consequences 20 years down the road, and our professional athletes do such a good job? You know, the NBA and the NFL and the professional baseball players, they pay attention to their veterans. They know they've been beat up. And in football players in particular, they know that there have been serial concussions that may have, you know, diminished mental capacity and crippling arthritic injuries that fall upon men who are maybe in their early 40s.
And yet with the showbiz entertainment, the kids, after they've made their money with them, and then it kind of...
It tells you plenty. And of course I see this act its way out in many instances. Back many years ago. This is Ronald Reagan era, mid-50s when he was the president of Screen Actors Guild. He got a miraculous contract that called for residuals, okay? Residuals to pay performers for the use of their image in subsequent broadcasts. But it was limited in those days to 6 airings of whatever show you did. And then came an additional contract a little bit later in another era at Screen Actors Guild where the understanding was, oh my God, there's still some marketable value in the rebroadcast of things. And so the residual structure was extended past these 6 airings. But the performers themselves at Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA decided that for the welfare of the current participants in the entertainment business, that residuals would not apply to all performances in movies from 1960 backwards.
And backwards.
And they further decided and accepted the terms of the deal that in television, anything that was done before 1974 would not have an ongoing commercial stream. They abandoned their own history. And we're living with that today, you know. And I did a lot of movies back in the day, that are constantly shown. The Donna Reed Show appears in syndicated markets, which has its own value and its own downside. But who would ever have thought? And this is by way of defense, that a black and white family sitcom, which came to an end in first run in 1966, would still be shown 40 years later.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, it's not only shown, it's loved, because people are able, in the flesh, in their own living rooms, to contrast the quality and the substance of the way we used to do it with the trash that's on television today.
And there's an awful lot of it.
It's hurting our culture. It's hurting our culture.